Hello guys, welcome back to this channel and thanks for viewing this video. Today we are going to talk about JPassword field class, how to create a password entry field. For example, on a login form, you would definitely need a password entry field. We are going to create a login form which will have a username and a password and a button. We will make sure that when the user clicks on the button, the program will return the username and the password he just typed. So stay tuned. Let's begin. So I have two classes. The first one is the test app.java, which is contained in my main method. And in the main method, I'm creating my frame object of type myFrame. My frame class is inheriting from the JFrame. So I have a constructor, and in that constructor, I am defining the various attributes of the frame. So if you want to create a password field, you need to use the JPassword field. So that's what I'm going to do. I will declare a JPassword field instance here. So I will say JPassword field. I'll call it password. So I need to import the class, and I can actually instantiate the password here. I'll say new password, new JPassword field, and then semicolon. Next, I will say that I want to add this particular password field to the frame. So I'll say this dot add password. So because the layout manager is set to null, I need to place this password myself. So I'll say password, password that set bounds. And in here, I will say 200, 250, 240. So that now when I run, here you can see I'm having password field showing on the screen. When you type, you can see that there's no way for you to actually see the characters of your password, because the password is supposed to be something that is confidential. Okay, so I can say 300 for X bounds here, and I think that will be a little bit fine, and 300 for the width. That can work as well. So that's it concerning how to create a password field. So now let's start creating our login form. So to create a login form, we need labels, we need another text field and a button. So I'm going to first start by declaring my labels. So the first one, I will call it label underscore password. The second one will be label underscore username. The third one, I will say message, and I can also say label title. So let me import the label JLabel class. After doing this, I need to add another text field. So this is going to be for the username. I can call that username, and I need to import the JText field class as well in my project. Now I will add a button. So I'll say JButton btn like this. Okay, so import the JButton class. So let me start by instantiating my labels. So I'll say label underscore password equal new JLabel, and I'll set the text to password like this. I need to set the bounds for this label. I'll copy, paste here, and this I will change to label underscore password that set bounds, and I need to define its alignment. So let me say 200 here, and for the width, I will say 100. Let me run. It will not show because I need to add it. So this that add label underscore password like this. Run. All right, so now you can see the password is showing on the frame. So I'm going to work on the other label, that is label underscore username. I will instantiate it, say JLabel, and I'll set the text to username. Then I need to place it on the frame myself. Say label underscore username, set bounds. And here I'll say 200 for the y-axis, and I will leave it like that. Oh, I need to add this particular label to the frame as well. I will say this that add label underscore username. Then let me run. Yeah, you can see the label on the screen. So let me work on the text field, the username text field. So I called it username. say assignment operator new J text field. So because this is a username, I don't need to use the password field. So password field is for password. So this is just a username, though it's nothing confidential. I think we can directly use the text field for that. Now I will set the bounds for it. Down here, I will say username. As for x-axis, I'll say 300, and then I will increase its width like this. So now I'll come here, I'll say this.add username. Now you can see we are having the label and then our input fields. All right. So I need now to add a buy button. I'll say btn new j button. Set the text to sign in. Yes. For this one, I need to set the bounds as well. Let me copy, paste it here. And then for y-axis, I'll say 300. I can reduce its width to 100. Let me run. There something wrong. Yeah, I need to change this to pass btn. Okay, so when you run, it's not showing. Let me add the button. So say this that add btn. Now I think it will show. Yeah, so we have in our button showing on the frame. I will simply increase the y-axis. This looks much more better. So we had another label, we called it message. So what this particular label will do is that whenever the user clicks on the sign in button, we want our program to output a message, either to say you've signed in successfully, or it will return the name of the user or its password and all these informations. So we will come here and simply say message. We will instantiate that by saying new JLabel. For now, we'll say message here, and then we need to set the bounds for that. Simply come down here. Now say 370 or maybe 400 if that. Okay, 300 for the width of this particular label. And here I will change to message. I need to add the message. So I'll say this, that add message. Then run. Yeah, so the message is showing down here. So I can maybe bring that a little bit to the top. This when you run. Yeah. This looks much pretty much it. So let me bring my components a little bit to the top. So I'll say 150, 200, 270. And for the message, 330. Yeah, so now I have taken that a little bit to the top. So now what we're going to do, we are going to implement the action listener interface so that whenever we click on the sign in button here, we want to update the message showing down here. We need to come up here and say implement action listener, import action listener, add on implemented methods. So now you have the action performed method. We need to add the action listener to that add action listener. And I will say this, making reference to the class, implementing the action listener interface. So that's it. So now in the action performed method, we are going to define what will happen if the user clicks on any GUI component that is listening to the event. Let me say string here, and I'll say MSJ and login success. And I will say message. So message here is this label here, okay? We want to update the message. So we say message set text, we pass in MSG. So now this means that when you run, if you click on sign in, you see it changes to login success. All right. So this is just a very simple exercise that we have done here. What we want to do is that we want to output the username and then the password of the user. So if the user enters his username in the field and then his password, we want to be able to return those values. We will keep this string MSG. We will only come here and say your username is semicolon, and then here we'll say username that get text. So the get text is going to capture whatever the user will write in the username text field. Now we need to update the MSG by concatenating it with another string value. So we say MSG plus equal, and here I'll say and your password is. So now here we want to return the password as a string, the user to actually see the password that he has typed. I know that in real life this is not a good practice because the password is supposed to be confidential, but just for the purpose of this example, we want to be able to have that password shown to us on the frame. So we will say new string, so string here to make sure that the password is converted into a string, and then we say password. So this is the password field that get password. So the get password method is going to capture whatever password the user types in the password field. So when the system captures that, that password value is converted into a string and then concatenated with the rest of the string here. All right, so now if I run, let me say my username is Kyle and my password is pass with capital P. And then when I run here, you can see your username is Kyle and your password is pass. All right, my login form is working, okay, based on what we have defined in the action performed method here. So we can add more buttons to this particular form. Let's say, for example, that we want to add a reset button. And that means that if the user clicks on the reset button, everything is going to be reset. Because for now, when I write Kyle as a username and then type in my password and click like this, you see everything remains the same. What if I want to, erase all the data that I have typed here? So I have to come and then delete like this manually. I want to have a button here that will allow me to click on it and reset, my fields. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to do. I will say here, I'm going to add another button. So I'll call it reset underscore btn. And down here, I'll copy and paste, say reset underscore btn. I'll set the text to reset and reset underscore btn, reset underscore btn. So as for the x-axis, I will say 400 and then come down here. I'll say this that add reset underscore btn and let me run. Okay, now this is my reset button. Let me move that. Okay, it's gone a little bit far. Let's say 500 for now. Yeah, so I have sign in and then reset. All right, so I can also add another checkbox because as you can see, when I type in my password like this, I can't see the password. What if I want to have a checkbox here that will allow me to actually be able to see the password that I'm typing if I check that box? So now that's what I'm going to do. I will declare a checkbox. So I will say checkbox. I'll call it show password. Now let me import my checkbox, my checkbox class. Will come here and say show password equal new checkbox. Then I will set the text to show password. All right, I need to set the bounds, copy, paste. This will be show password. That's set bounds. I can also add the action listener. Now that will be show password that action listener. So if I align the show password this way, so I need to change the alignment of my buttons. So that will be 3, 2 here, 3, 2. And as for the message, say 3, 5. And let me add the checkbox. So say this, that, add, show password. I'll say y-axis to 250, and this one to 300. Now run. There we have everything showing on the screen. I need to increase the width of the checkbox. What if I say 300? Like this? It's going to be good enough. Yeah. So when you check here, it tells you show password. So when you click on the component on which I have added the action listener, this message is showing automatically. But we need to change that. So we are going to work on the various functionalities of this login. The first one is we need to define the event to happen whenever we click on our sign in button. So let's go to the action performed. I will comment this or I'll put it down. Let me say if the action event, I will call it EVT. So if the source of the event is the button, So I want to have some string here. So the first string, I will call it user text, and I will instantiate that by saying username that get text. I'll have another string that will be pwd text. I will instantiate that by saying new string password that get password. All right, this I will comment. Okay, so this line of code is going to make sure to capture whatever the user types in the username field, and this will make sure to capture whatever the user types in the password field. So now we will add another if statement. We will say if, so username text, user text equals, now say ignore case. So if it equals to Kelly and pwd text equals ignore case. So I'm gonna write my password here. That will be pass. Now we need to output a message. So we can choose to output a message by saying message that set text. We say like this: you successfully logged in. And then we'll say else message that set text invalid username and password. So this is the username and this is the password. What the system is going to do is going to compare the username that the user will type in with these values that we have passed here. So if the username is equal to Kelly, and we are saying ignore case, that means that it's not going to take into consideration whether the characters are in capital letters or lowercase letters. All right, so capital and lowercase will be the same thing. So let me run. Let's say that I wrote Kelly here and then I wrote pass. When I click on sign in, now you can see you successfully logged in. But what if I change this to Kyle and click on sign in? You see invalid username and password. All right, so this is because that's what we said here. For us to successfully log in, we need to have this username and then this password. So now that's it for the sign in button. Let's work on the reset button. So we will have another if statement here. So we'll say if the event is coming from the button we called reset underscore btn, then we will simply say user text, username that set text empty. So that's it. So if the user clicks on the reset button, we want to empty the field. So we say username that set text empty and then password that set text empty. So now let's run. I'll say Kelly pass as the password. When I click, you can see you successfully logged in. When I click on reset, now everything has been emptied. Our reset button is indeed working. You know what? We can also, instead of showing a message, we can also show an output dialog box on the screen. So what we will do is that in the message here, we will remove the text, and in here, we will simply comment, and I want to show you how you can add an output dialog box in here. So let's say that, so if we have a username of Kelly and then a password of pass, let's output a certain message on the output dialog box. So we say JOption pane, show message dialog, and then we'll say this, and we can say you logged in successfully. And then we'll copy, else we simply say invalid username and password, then run. So if I run, I write Kelly and then pass. When I sign in, you see a dialog box is appearing saying you logged in successfully. So if I write a different username, maybe a different password, and I click, you see invalid username and password. Okay, so that was it. Now let's work on the show password checkbox. Still in our action performed method, we are going to write this. If the source of the event is our checkbox, we called it show password. Open and close the curly braces. And in here, we add another if statement. We will say if show password that is selected. So that's the condition. Then password, that's the name we give to our password field. We say set equal car. And then in here, we will say car 0. and after we'll say else. So that means if the show password is not selected, we'll simply say password that set equal car like this. So now let's run. I will type in my username Kelly, and when I type in password, it's not showing. Let me check the box here. Now you see when I check the box, my password is now showing on the screen. So we have worked on our show password functionality. When I check, the password shows in the text field. When I uncheck, it disappears. When I click on sign in, you log in successfully. When I click on reset, it resets. If I write a different password, a different username like Paul, for example, and come here, I write another password. And when I check the show password checkbox, you see it reveals the password. When I uncheck, it hides it. When I click on sign in, invalid username and password. So that's it on how you can create a login form like this one. So we can make this look a little bit more nice. Maybe we can add some font style and font colors, something like that. Let's say label underscore username. That's set font, new font, Arial font, that bold, and then 20. Say 180. Copy and paste here. So that will be label password. When you run here, okay, this will be 180 as well. Label underscore username. Maybe set foreground, color that blue. Let me import the color class. Run, okay, this is blue. Copy. Label underscore password. When you run, now it's blue. Let me work on a message as well. So this will be message. So I'll comment this just to see that it's working, and then I'll run Kelly pass. Yeah, so now you see the message is showing down here. I can personally say that no, I want this message to be green color, so that now when you say Kelly pass, so it outputs a green color text. And what if the message is invalid? When we have invalid username and password, we can set a different color for that. We can say that it must be red. Okay, so I write whatever name I want, password. Now you can see invalid username and password, and it's showing in red. Next, we can do that for the text field here. Say username, and then here we'll say black. Copy that, paste it here. We'll do the same thing for password. So now when I run, type in the name, type on show here, sign in. It's looking fine. The next thing we will do is to work on various buttons. So let me first work on a checkbox. As for the checkbox here, I will say show password, then show password black as well. I'll maybe reduce the font size to 18 and maybe remove the color. Let me say 16 here. Okay, and maybe the font, I'll say italic. So after that, let's now work on the buttons. 16, and here I'll say BTN. The color will be white and it needs a background. So BTN that set background, say color that green. What if I say blue? Say BTN. Copy that, paste it here, and simply change reset underscore background color will be red. Maybe for the labels, I'm gonna add a title. Remember, we declared a title here, so I will simply say title equal new JLabel, set the text, login form, then semicolon, set the bounds for this, copy the font. So here we'll say title and then title. We need to add the title to the frame. So that add title. Yeah, so now we have our title. Let's set the color. All right, so that's it on how to create a login form. Click on sign in, it shows the output. If you click on reset, it resets your form. If you have a different password, it says invalid username and password. Now, if you click on show password, it shows you the actual password you wrote. If you correct that, sign in, it says you logged in successfully. If you reset, Kelly. So I hope this video was informative, and please don't forget to like, to share, and subscribe to this channel for more videos like this one. Let's meet in the next one.